what I'm going to do, as some of you know, I've been like traveling around a lot in the United States for the last few weeks, and I've been doing a lot of things with a lot of communities. And what I'm going to do right now is just kind of share 3 points. Somebody yesterday I saw, they said, can tell us what you learned on this trip. So what I'm going to do is kind of 3 things that sort of stuck out to me, mostly for my own self, and maybe they'll be of benefit to you. So the first is, there's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Min husni Islam al-mar'i tark ma la yani." So those of you who know Urdu, do you know what is ma la yani? Do you know what that means? It's in Urdu too. When in Farsi Urdu, it's an Urdu word, but it's like people who are reading intellectual stuff. So ma, which is Arabic, la yani, means it is of no concern to you. So what is the meaning of the hadith? Min husni Islam al-mar'i tark ma la yani. It is from the excellence of a man or a Muslim's religion that he leaves that which does not concern him. He leaves, he doesn't concern himself, he doesn't get into what's not his business. That's from the excellence of a mu'min's Islam. Prophet ﷺ told us this. So in my own shaykh, he was telling us recently in a dars that, you know, the spiritual path, the way of going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and realizing yourself and connecting yourself to Allah is a major concern, the ruhani way of being with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You could say the Sufi path. There was a time when in one region of the world it was completely forgotten to make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to do ibadat with ikhlas, to do all these things. And one of the awliya, he revived this ruhaniyat on the basis of simply this one hadith. He made his murids implement this hadith to the fullest extent. Leave what does not concern you. So what does that mean? I mean, practically speaking, in our lives, there are many situations I've been seeing over the last few weeks, many situations, people are really worked up. You know, people are really stressed out about things. And when I'm paying close attention to what they're saying to me, some of it is of real concern to them, the matter that they're worried about. A lot of it is really not their business. It's not their business. For example, so, you know, I keep hearing things like, how come in the masjid they don't let women do this, da, da, da. And how come that sheikh did such, da, 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 da. And how come wo madrase mein da, 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 da. You know, and this, I'm taking religious examples, but it could be anything. House, car, that's all they care about. They don't even care about anything that's of importance. They're so dunya wale. They're so oriented towards the dunya. You know, how come they let her walk around with so much makeup? How come they let... It's like, what is it to you? How is it for you to speak this? First of all, it's a major sin. Particularly if you're talking about a particular person. It's a major sin. It's not your business. It's not your daughter. It's not your fardain to take care of this person and fix them or help them or guide them or show them love so they come. Nothing. It's nothing of yours. And then when it comes to these organizational things, these masjid things, you know, there are a lot of controversies that happen over the last number of years in this community, in our Chicago community. And you know, one of the talks that I gave was at the Islamic Foundation. A lot of that was, you know, if you're stressed out about controversies, how come that sheikh did this? How come this masjid did this? How come that tariqah did this? It's like you need to examine, first of all, what is your role in this discussion? When you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what are you, Sadia, going to be asked about? Regarding this madrasa, this masjid, this tariqah, this shaykh, this whatever. How is Allah going to ask you? If He's not going to ask you anything, that's Malayani. That's Malayani. You have no role in that discussion. Now, as for, there's a concept in our deen of what is fard ain and what is fard kifaya. Right? There's first cheeze, faraiz hamare. Some of them are fard ain, har shakhs pe, it's farz. Every person, it's obligatory for you to do that thing. Then there are certain obligations, they're obligatory on the entire ummah, or the people of that region, for example. If one person takes care of that, the obligation is lifted out of the whole community. Okay? But if nobody takes care of it, the sin of neglecting it is on every one of those people. The ulama make this distinction. So, for us, the ya'ani stuff, the things that concern us, first and foremost are our fardains. My namaz, my roza, my being good to my parents, my raising my children well, my making sure they feel nurtured and loved and helped, and I can be there for them. You know, if you're not giving, if you're so busy in all of your religious activities and every single thing that's happening in the whole community, that your daughter or your son, when he's stressed out, he can't come and just like sit by you. You don't even have the time to notice that he's stressed out. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with the fact that you're leaving what does concern you, what you will be asked about, the fardain, on the day of judgment, and you're running after the thing that nobody's going to ask you about. And this child is suffering. Your husband is suffering. I mean, there are many people, they have children, and they're really working, excellent mothers, but it's like they have no clue what's happening with their spouse. Never sit there for more than 5 minutes with a decent face so that he can at least show you something. And this goes vice versa. I'm not attacking the women. I'm saying both sides. If you don't have time to sit and just hold your spouse's hand and just be like, look at him and be like, is he okay? There's something wrong. This is something wrong. Wrong, not just morally, ethically, American Islam. I'm talking wrong that you go to Allah, you're going to be asked about it. So, and so I brought up the fard kifaya because, okay, fine. There might be you might be a big, you might have a position within some masjid or some madrasa where you could contribute. You could help a situation. You could let the women have a better voice. If you see that opportunity, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls you to that, He opens the way. Someone asks you, could you please take care of this issue? You see my fardains are being taken care of. My house is in order. My children are in order. I'm in order. My husband's in order. My parents are okay. All my basics are okay. I have free time. I can go and do some khidmah. MashaAllah, you're taking care of a fard kifaya. But to sit there and just complain all the time, and you're just complaining all the time, what you're actually doing is you're showing a level of, number one, disregard to the command of the Prophet ﷺ when he told us, don't concern yourself with what doesn't concern you. That's a Hookum of Rasulullah, which means it's a Hookum of Allah ﷺ. Number one. Number two, you're showing nashukrapan to your Lord. You're showing ingratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by just complaining about something that He has not mubtilad you in. You are not, I hear of people, they have very good relationships. They have a very good religious, spiritual community. And they're so stressed out, and it's like, don't you see that you're 40 years old now? You're at the stage now with the Prophet ﷺ, that's the age when he got wahi. Right? No more joking around. It's no more fooling around. You and your Islam is you right here on this prayer mat. This is your Islam. Not who's giving the a representation of the woman and the empowerment and all that stuff. The complaints of yours and your stress and you're worried about all those people and all those things and and what should be done, that much time and effort that you're doing internally and externally, is it at least equivalent to how much you sit here looking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before you talking to Him? If it's not, there's a problem. Right? So that was the one thing I wanted to say about that. The last two things are just really short points. The second of the three whole total points being, I realized how great a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it is that we know that when we die, there is something to come. There is something to come, and what is to come is far, 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 far greater and better if we do things right. And all you have to do is what yani, what concerns you. That's all you have to do to get that far, 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 far better thing. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. And it's pretty clearly laid out. If you don't know what is of concern to you, figure it out by learning your deen and understanding. I don't have to save the world. I don't have to fix every problem at every khandan member and every situation and every fight. I have to be pesh, standing there. Excuse my Urdu, I'm like in between brains and worlds and stuff, right? Like trying to fix everything, and it's like, no. Just do the little thing, and what you will get just for doing what is on your plate, and Allah is not going to give you what is greater than you can bear. If you start putting on more things on your plate, that's your own problem. When you get so overly stressed out, you put stuff on your plate. He did not put that on your plate. When you're overly stressed out, you have to look, is there something on this plate that doesn't belong here, that is not of concern to me? And then work to see, is there a way I can take it out? And it's very difficult sometimes because you have all these attachments. But the reason why having an idea of the akhirah is so great of a blessing is that when I travel around this country and I see people really having a lot of anxiety and a lot of sadness, more than anything on this trip, I felt sadness. I felt hopelessness. This is what I felt everywhere I went. I kept telling my spouse, I just feel a lot of mayusi from people. I don't know if it's from people or what, but I don't feel like this normally. Why am I feeling like this? And I think, I don't know if it's a legitimate thing to say, but I think I'm picking up from whatever I'm getting from the vibes of people. Why would a believer ever be hopeless? Why would we ever be hopeless? The Prophet ﷺ said, amazing. It's amazing, the affair of the believer. Ajaban li amril mu'min. Unbelievably amazing, the matter of the believer. If he is given good, he gives thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's rewarded for it. And if he's in a trial and he shows sabr, he's rewarded for it. Either way, it's a win-win situation. It's like the world is coming to an end. Kids are getting shot in schools, And you think about this and you think about it. Why are those children being hurt? And why are this happening? And why did those community do like that? And it's like you do understand that the people who kept straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this environment, they're gonna win. Prophet ﷺ said, they said, who are your brothers? He said, the ones who's gonna come later. That's us. The Sahaba. They said, are we the ones you're talking about, Rasulullah, when you tell you my brothers? What is the hadith? Anyone remember? And the Prophet ﷺ was longing for his brothers. The Sahaba said, you mean us? And he said, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ones who will come later. Why? Because we held on. In the midst of this garbage stuff that we're seeing around us. I got here and I get this shooting in the school and it's like so frightening. Everywhere I go, I'm like, I kind of brace myself sometimes. And then I realize, well, alhamdulillah, I'll die shaheed. It's like, so what? Ajaban li amril mu'min. Unbelievable how great the affair of the mu'min is. All you have to have is maintain this, and you're set. Even if the time of the hour comes, Prophet ﷺ said, you have a plant in your seedling, right? You're about to put it in, and you see that the hour has come, plant it. Why? Because the actual results don't matter. The results of your life don't matter. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. You intended it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You did it. You got it. That's it. And we fret so much about the result. That's another Malayani. What the result is not your business. This is the hardest part. For moms, this is the hardest part. What the result will be of your tarbiyah of your child, you don't have to fret about that. You just do your job. It's not your business. This last part I just talked about is a high level. This is where somebody said, can you talk about tawakkul? It is tawakkul practically laid out. The results is not your business. Just do your job. And then the final thing that I will mention that came to me was this teaching of Imam al-Ghazali. So Imam al-Ghazali in Ihya Ulumuddin, he has this part about character, akhlaq, good akhlaq. What is a good akhlaq for the Muslim, right? So I really apologize. I wasn't able to look it up. He has a long list that the mu'min with good akhlaq, he does this and this and this and this and this. One of the things he mentions is that the believer is hashash bashash. You guys know this word?
No.
Aunties?
Did you make it up?
Happy. You're cheerful, right?
Always happy.
Always in a cheerful, happy sort of mode. Hashash bashash. It's a real word. Hashash bashash is a character trait that a believer should have. They should be of cheerful disposition. And ajaban li amril mu'min. Why am I getting stressed out? Why am I feeling upset? Why am I sad? Okay, you're tired. Everything you're doing, if you make a niyyah, wake up in the morning and you say, Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Oh Allah, my life and my death and my works and everything of mine is for your sake. Means you intend the whole day, rest of the day, I'm intending it for you.
Can you please share that with us?
Yeah, it's an ayah of the Quran. As soon as you say that, it's like, alhamdulillah. You should try to renew your niyyah throughout the day. But now your kind of bakaing has become for Allah. Your putting your pants on has become for Allah. You're going to the bathroom, relieving yourself is for Allah because you're helping your body so that when you make wudu, you're helping your prayer. Everything becomes for Allah. Right? Why would I be so stressed out? Everything I'm doing is, even if I'm tired, even if I have to give a talk, and it's okay. And on top of that, the thought that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, if I'm responsible to be hashash bashash, to be cheerful with all of you, then who deserves that more than any of you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't give us this huge ni'mah of being alive and being able, even when I'm suffering, it is all going in my positive account, so that for eternity I am going to be in an extremely excellent state that I cannot even imagine, and ever increasing. I won't get bored, right? And I'm going to be sitting there annoyed or resentful or bitter, or how come he didn't, how come they have and I don't, and how can you do that? How can you be hashash bashash and cheerful and of jovial temperament with each other, and not with your Lord who has allowed you with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I should be hashash bashash. I should make sajda and say, oh Allah, you've done so much for me. I can't even believe it. I can't believe how much you've done for me. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to have the ability to understand these things and to implement them